And that's what I want to talk about. And here's why. It's because their audience trusts them. The audience trusts them deeply. And so then people share their work and their names come up in conversations and the ideas that they're talking about, the things they believe in spread and their communities become more engaged. And that's really what I'm interested, excuse me, in talking about because many of these women are not posting more than everyone else. Maybe you've been hearing, but just post more. What they're doing differently is they're building recognizable bodies of work. And that's the shift that's happening right now. And that's what I am here to share with you and ask you if you are noticing because most women online are still operating like content creators. And we never really started our business to become a content creator, did we? But the thing that's happening is we're moving into a new era of category leadership. And that is a very different experience than a content creator. A content creator asks this question, like, what should I post today? And a category leader thinks, what conversation do I want to be known for? It's a very different question. A content creator really focuses on staying visible, but a category leader is focused on becoming recognizable. And that difference changes a lot for your brand and for your business. Right now, the average person sees thousands of marketing messages every single day, right? You know that because you're experiencing it. And some studies have estimated that between 4,000 and 10,000 messages are being seen daily, depending, of course, on your screen time and the platform you're on. But the human brain is now adapting to filtering out almost everything immediately because we're so inundated with messages. And that means that visibility alone, it's just becoming less valuable. It's just more noise. And so people don't remember most of the content they see. But here's what they do remember. They remember someone who makes them think differently. People who articulate something they maybe the viewer already senses but couldn't quite fully express yet, or people whose perspective creates an emotional recognition, a resonance. And that's why perspective is one of the most valuable business assets you can have right now, your perspective. And I think women with real lived experience are incredibly positioned for this moment if they stop trying to market themselves like everyone else. Many women I work with have decades of wisdom, expertise, leadership, great client results, life experience. Maybe they've reinvented themselves a few times. They have resilience, they've been through things. They have emotional intelligence that they've gained by earning it, and they have a lot of insight. But online, they're flattening themselves into these tiny pieces of content, trying to keep up with the algorithm, like, posting a reel, um, a caption, a carousel. It's like one random thought, but it doesn't really connect with the depth of their work. And when you're trying to keep up with micro content, you start being reactive in your business. Okay, I can only put out a little bit today. What do I want to say? And then what will I say tomorrow? And you start chasing trends and you never meant to do that, right? You wonder, like, what do people really want to hear? Because I have a lot to say, and you're trying to give this little breadcrumb. And then if you're like me, you start overthinking your posts. And that can become emotionally draining. And then we get dependent on engagement. Again, that's not why we are in our businesses. That's not why we started a business. That's not the real work we're here to do. But when women start shifting into seeing themselves as a thought leader, a category leader, an architect of a body of work, that's when her relationship with content can completely change. And that's when you stop asking, "What should I post today?" and start asking, "What do I stand for? What is the conversation that matters to me? What do I want to bring to the world? What patterns do I consistently see that I want to speak about? What truth am I here to articulate in the world? And what do I want people to associate my name with, let's say maybe 5 years from now?" And that creates a completely different presence online because people can feel that difference. Category leadership is not built from random visibility, it's built through repetition of a clear perspective over time. And this is one of the reasons I think people are coming so quickly to Substack. I know it's one of the reasons I became so interested in Substack, not because I think everyone needs another platform, but what interested me was the structure of the experience here. Most platforms reward, you know, disposable content. You post something, people react, and then it disappears. Even like the meaningful conversations maybe that you have that gets a lot of engagement, they disappear within probably 48 hours. You can spend hours filming a thoughtful video, editing a podcast, or, writing something that's deeply valuable. And then within 48 hours, it's buried underneath hundreds of newer posts. And the structure itself trains us to think short term. But we have depth and, meaningful experience to bring to the world that impacts people long term. But, Substack is working differently. Here, your work accumulates, your ideas connect, and people can move through your thinking over time. Your work connects to a community that you're building, and then your community becomes a movement. And that's not content creation anymore. That is publication building, or what I like to call your brand magazine. Because a magazine tells people what you stand for. You choose your topics, people look forward to it, it accumulates over time. And then we can stop acting like we're trying to get attention and start acting like we're developing an important impact for the people who are following you. The strongest women online are becoming known for the conversations they lead. And over time, people will associate that women, you, right, with the conversation that you're leading. That's category leadership. And I think many women have underestimated how important this is becoming, especially in the AI era, because AI can, generate endless information. It can write captions, it can create hooks, it can summarize books, it can generate marketing frameworks in a matter of seconds. But what it can't replace is lived perspective. It can't replace a woman's actual pattern recognition that's been developed through decades of life experience. It can't replace emotional resonance. It can't replace the feeling of, okay, this person understands something important. And that's why I believe the future belongs to women who are really willing to deepen their voice and share their work instead of, what we're being encouraged to do across social media is endless, content volume. I also think this is where community becomes incredibly important because movements aren't built alone. One of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially after I found Substack and really started looking at what's happening here, is how isolated many women have become inside their online business because everybody's posting, everybody's selling, everybody's trying to get that visibility. And then once you get it, you got to keep it. But very few women are actually building collaborative ecosystems. But that's what's happening here. And if you're here, you're one of the early adopters. Because historically, some of the most powerful movements in the world grew from women coming together, from people coming together, gathering, having conversations, creating communities where people shaped ideas together. And that's one of the things that really excites me about Substack. Women are beginning to build publications that function like a modern media platform. That's what this is. It's your own media platform. That's why I think of the publication as a magazine. And it's your ecosystem where you can do podcasts, you can collaborate with other people, you can do interviews, you can write if you love to write, you can recommend each other and be recommended. It's all about collaboration. You can have these communities where people subscribe and pay, right? You can share your audiences. So the women who understand this early right now are positioning themselves very differently than women who are trapped in short-term content cycles. Because the audiences are changing too. People are tired of the constant performance and the shallow advice that it just seems to be endlessly repeated, or the bickering about who's right and who's wrong. But there's a growing hunger for depth. Do you feel it? Do you guys see that? A growing hunger for clarity, for honesty, for perspective that we can appreciate in each other, for real substance. People want to follow women who actually stand for something, right? And a lot of women are a little bit nervous to go that deep, even though it's interesting. It's the depth of our work that we love, but to be seen in that, to be recognized in that, it means you have to be more willing to really be seen. Oh, my phone just dropped. Hold on. Here, I'll just hold it. So, the strategies that worked, just even a couple years ago, they're just not working the same way. Attention feels harder to hold, right? Algorithms are more unpredictable. It's, you know, it's just things are changing. And when you are accumulating your work on one platform, people can move along with you over time. That's important work. I'm curious what you guys stand for. I'm curious, drop in the comments. Is this resonating with you? What's your body of work designed to do? What's your real message? Because like I was saying, people want to follow women who stand for something and who are making a real difference. And so, yes, it can feel hard. It can feel like, we've spent years being rewarded for being agreeable, for being adaptable, for being supportive, being behind the scenes, being in our corporate role, whatever it was. And so now to be a category leader, you have to be willing to become associated with some new ideas. But we also have to risk disagreement. We have to risk being misunderstood and maybe not being liked that much because we have an opinion. We have to risk being seen. But, in exchange for that, we become memorable. And that's what movements are built on. I'm just so over like the perfect branding and the hacks, trying to sound smarter than the other people or have the latest, opinion. But when you have a clear perspective and it's based on your beliefs and what you want for people, that creates trust. And trust ultimately creates buyers, not just attention. Trust shortens decision making. When people trust you, they want to come back and learn more. It increases your retention. It creates referrals. And that's what builds your community. it can grow organically because people are talking about the work privately. And that's why women are building, you know, quietly building movements while other women are chasing engagement. And when I say they're quietly building, I mean it's being built through referral. They're being seen, they're being bold, they're being out there. I think one of the biggest opportunities women have right now is to stop treating themselves like content machines and start really building the body of work that actually reflects the depth of who they are and what they came here to contribute. And that's part of what we're going to continue to talk about here. I'm hosting a group program that starts next week. And yes, we're going to technically set you up on Substack, but we're also going to build a recognizable magazine for you, how to structure your ideas so that they build trust over time, how to connect your podcast, your articles, your offers, and your community into one ecosystem. Because I believe the women who understand this shift early are going to become the next generation of category leaders right here. Not because they're going to post more, because they're going to become known for something meaningful. So this Friday, I'm hosting inside my curated community of buyers here on Substack. It's my paid subscription. I'm hosting a training to help you build a Substack that people will read, remember, and want to buy from because of who you're being, like we just talked about. So if you want to join, you can upgrade. If you're already upgraded, I'll see you there. And if you want to go deeper, you can check out my Substack group coaching program. I'll drop the link in this once this live is done. It's 30 days. We're going to build your Substack and we're going to start growing it. It's for women who really know that they want to get it done right. They want to just get it done because there's a little bit to do and to get the support to do it. And so it's for, like I said, 30 days. The first 3 weeks, we meet twice a week and we get everything set up. And then the last week, we fine tune. You can read more about it. I'll drop the link. And so if you want to ask me any questions, you can also do that. And I will see you on Friday if you're there. And if not, I'll be back next week. And as always, remember, be real, take a stand, and change lives. Bye for now.